Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 2000's Represent. We're in the middle of this cycle of 2006, talking about a movie. And this episode, we're talking about The Departed. Just an excellent crime drama from Martin Scorsese. Mob ties a little bit because it deals with the one of the Boston mobs. Not quite like the mafia films like Goodfellas or Casino or films like that. But yeah, just an excellent film from him. The cast in this movie is amazing. You know, you have Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg is great in this. You have Martin Sheen, Alec Baldwin is in this. Vera Farmiga, I think that's probably I'm pronouncing that correctly, is in this as well. I didn't see this initially when it first came out, but I remember renting it when it came up when it was available on DVD sometime in 2007. It may have been like the spring or like maybe even like late winter, like maybe like around like February or March. I don't remember exactly when, but I remember really liking it and watched it then, watched it one more time, and then for this series I watched it again recently. I watched it on Netflix this time, and I had a really good time watching it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I had an excellent time watching this film again. I was talking to a friend about this and was saying, "Oh yeah, I'm watching The Departed." And he's like, "Oh, The Departed is like really good," and he was even saying it doesn't even though it's amazing, it doesn't even get into the top 10 Martin Scorsese films. Which I kind of had to think. You think about it. Some of his other films are like this one's really good, but then he's made movies that are even better than this. Martin Scorsese is just one of the absolutely greatest filmmakers of all time, and this is just another example of just his amazing direction here. Let me get my notes ready. Got my notebook, and we're gonna get to that, and then we'll get to the plot and all that as well. Let me pull this open. Let me go. Let's see where we are. All right, there we are. So, The Departed was first released October 6th, 2006. Again, directed by Martin Scorsese, written by William Monahan, and apparently it's a remake of the Hong Kong film Internal Affairs. I haven't seen that, but yeah, this is like an English or English language version remake of that movie. The cast is incredible. I'll actually just bring up the cast list because it's definitely worth mentioning the cast in this movie here. Click the cat. There we go. So we have Leonardo DiCaprio, we have Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Ray Winstone is in this, Vera Farmiga, or I'll probably just pronounce it completely differently. Alec Baldwin is in this as well, and then Anthony Brown as and then we have Kevin Corrigan, James Badge Dale, David O'Hara, Mark Ralston, Robert Wahlberg, Kelly Dalton, and Shane Duffin. So just a really great cast. Ray Winstone is great in this. Mark Wahlberg is actually really good in this. Like Wahlberg can be kind of hit or miss. I think like movies like Boogie Nights are good. I enjoyed him in Pain and Gain. I didn't see any of the Transformers he was in. But yeah, Mark Wahlberg is generally hit or miss, but he knocks it out of the park in this one. Actually got an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor from this movie, and he's got some great dialogue and some great scenes in this film. So the cast is great. It won several Academy Awards, so it ended up winning Best Picture, Best Director for Martin Scorsese, Best Adapted Screenplay, as well as Film Editing. And I think it's just insane that up to this point, when this 2007, when those Academy Awards were, Martin Scorsese had not won an Academy Award for directing, which is just kind of insane. And I don't think he's won one since. And I remember when this was nominated for Academy Awards. I remember I don't know where it was, if it was an article or what it was, but Leonardo DiCaprio kind of went on this. Don't want to call it a tirade, but kind of went on a rant saying how it was basically ridiculous that Martin Scorsese hasn't won an Academy Award, despite being nominated, several times prior to that for other films. And this is the film that eventually gets him that Academy Award. So I'm glad that he got the award, but he should have won more than one by that point. And in all honesty, he should have won several Academy Awards for directing overall. But glad he got one. But there's other films that I think he would have should have won for as well. So won a bunch of awards. Mark Wahlberg again also nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That was or nominated for that. He's great in this. One really cool thing with the first two times I watched it, I didn't notice this, is the whole motif with the X's. So basically, the X's in the architecture of the film, like whether it be like lights or structures. Like there's a part where DiCaprio's character is walking through like an airport terminal, and the windows all have these kind of X's done in them, built into the architecture. And my first two times watching the movie, I didn't really notice that because I watched it in 2007 and maybe a couple years later, and then most recently watched it on Netflix. And in between my second and third viewing of the film, I saw a YouTube video. I'll actually link it down below that explains the X's and kind of how they are an homage to the movie Scarface, where basically the characters that are present when these X's are in the architecture are characters that are going to get killed in the film in some way. So when DiCaprio's character is walking through this airport terminal, it's like a long tracking shot, and he's walking past multiple of these X's. And obviously spoilers for the film, but when you see there's an X standing around when Matt Damon is walking by something. Jack Nicholson has the same thing. Martin Sheen's character, same kind of thing as well. So these X's are basically foreshadowing these characters' deaths, as well as basically saying that they are essentially marked men. And that is an homage, apparently, according to the video I saw about this, which I'll link, to Scarface, the original Scarface film, not the Al Pacino version. But yeah, so those are a really cool thing, a really cool production design element that they put in there. So yeah, just the kind of like that, like attention to detail is something that's really cool about this film. We're now going to jump into the plot of the film. The plot is fairly complex because there's like a lot of like, basically the main concept of the film is the two leads, which are Matt Damon and DiCaprio. DiCaprio is actually, I think, the first build, but DiCaprio and Matt Damon are working for the police, but also working for the mob in different ways. So DiCaprio's character is a police officer that has been inserted as a mole into Jack Nicholson's gang, so he's actually working for the police, while Matt Damon's character is still working for the police, but is also working for Jack Nicholson. And the kind of the movie really takes off once it's known by the police that they have a mole in their unit, but then it's also known by the mob that there is a police officer in their midst as well, and they're trying to, like suss out who the mole is and things like that. Creates a lot of really cool tension and what have you. So that's the basis of the movie. But starts off, I think, in like the late 70s, maybe it's the 80s. Matt Damon's character is a kid at this point. He's at like a diner or something. Jack Nicholson's character comes in to extort some money, and he's like, "Hey, you're such and such a guy's kid. Like, get this guy some he gets him like some groceries. He's like, hey, you like comic books?" And he gives him a comic book. And then he kind of like is like observing him through like his career up to joining, or his life to joining in when he joins the police. So he's kind of like this almost like a father figure to Sullivan. That's Matt Damon's character. And when he gets into the police, he basically becomes an informant for Costello, that's Jack Nicholson, to kind of like tip him off and basically help him basically avoid dealing with the law. DiCaprio's character graduates through the police academy. They both come up at the academy at roughly the same time. So DiCaprio's character is getting an interview with Dignam and Queenan. That is Mark Wahlberg's character as well as Martin Sheen's character. And they're kind of grilling him. They're kind of like, what kind of cop are you? Like, you're like, and they're basically just like busting him. And they said, well, you're not a cop because we want you to work undercover. So they're like, we need you to, basically, we're going to throw you in jail for some charges we're going to make up to, like at least give you a criminal record. And they're like, we can't hide your, that you graduated from the academy, but people like look into it. but we can basically say you were like kicked out and you got some charges, and now you're in jail. And when you get out, you'll be working for us undercover, but you're going to be infiltrating this gang. And while that's happening, Matt Damon's character is coming up through the ranks as well. He beats Vera Farmiga's character, and they start like going out, and like they eventually like are going to get married at some point, and like they're like living together. And that's much later in the film. But one of my favorite scenes is there's a scene where where DiCaprio's character is at a bar. He gets a cranberry juice. Some guy's like, "What, are you on your period or something?" And he beats the guy up. And French, who is played by Ray Winstone, comes up. He's like, "There's guys you can hit, and there's guys you can't hit. That guy's kind of in the middle, so like, don't like cause any trouble." And then he's like, "What do you drink?" He's like, "I'm having cranberry juice." The guy's like, "Hey, that's such and such a guy's like kid, so like be careful around him." Because DiCaprio's character does have ties to crime, even though like because I think it was like his like uncle or something, or was like in one of these gangs at one point. But yeah, basically the movie then has like, and then in the scene where basically he wants to get in with Jack Nicholson's gang, he goes into the bar. French like searches him, and he's got a cast on from when he punches the guy before, and it's a brutal scene because like they search him and they yank the cast off, and it's kind of interesting because Jack Nicholson's character actually is kind of right from the beginning. He's like I don't think he's like it's below Queen to pull you out of the state police and have you infiltrate my gang. So he breaks the cast off of him. And he's like, "Are you a cop?" He's like, and DiCaprio's character is like, "No, no." And he smacks like his broken arm with like a shoe like several times. He's like, "Are you a cop?" He's like, smack him with a shoe. Just kind of a brutal scene. But then DiCaprio's character starts like doing some work with them. Matt Damon's character is basically preventing Jack Nicholson's character from getting in trouble, from like basically like tipping him off about stuff. And, like they arrest the guy, and he tells the guy, he's like, "I want you to call this number and tell them that you're gonna be late for supper," which is like, hey, like stuff like change your plans kind of thing. Um, DiCaprio's character also gets assigned to a psychiatrist. That's Vera Farmiga's character, and he has like initial like not so great meeting with her initially, and they talk about like the concept of like lying. He's like, "Hey, I need like Valium, I need like these medicines," and she's like, so like she writes him a prescription eventually. She's like, "And I'm gonna transfer you to a different psychiatrist because like, because he kind of like blows up on her." But he's talking to Dick. Like they get picked up by DiCaprio gets picked up by Martin Sheen and Wahlberg, and they're kind of interrogating him. And they finally, this is when it comes out that they think there is a mole in the police unit. At the same time, this is kind of, I think this is kind of like in when Matt Damon's character, or Vera Farmiga's character, is moving in with Matt Damon, and he gets a call from Jack Nicholson like as they're moving in, and he's like, "Hey, like if there's a mole, I need information from you." You can definitely tell Costello isn't like he's like doesn't like taking orders. He's like I can help you. Like why should I like do this or do that? And he's like, "Well, I need information on the crew. Like I need like social security numbers. I need dates of birth. I need a bunch of stuff so we can like run all this information, and then we can find the mole this way." So they eventually do that, and they make everybody in the crew who DiCaprio's character is part of fill out forms with all this information, and they write it in an envelope that says "citizens" on it. I think the guy misspelled "citizens," and DiCaprio crosses it off with an X, again the X motif, and then writes "citizens" on that, and all that paperwork is in this envelope. Yeah, there's like a lot of like smaller things I'm kind of like mixing together. But at one point, in the big twist comes when they're going after this guy, and DiCaprio's character like is like roughing this guy up, and he's like, "Hey, like, why do you think Costello never gets in trouble?" He's like, because he's an FBI informant. Or he mentions something about the FBI. And he's like, "What do you say about the FBI?" He's like, "I'm high, man. Like, I didn't say anything." He's like, Costello's a protected FBI agent or FBI informant. That's why he like none of these charges ever stick to him. At one point, also they set up a deal with Costello's gang, and I think the whole deal is these stolen microprocessors that they're like gonna sell on the black market or something. And it's a great line where like Alec Baldwin's like, "I love the Patriot Act," or whatever it is, because they can tap the phones. But there's security cameras in this place where they're meeting, and there's a blind spot in the security camera. So Alec Baldwin's like, well, like, there's a blind spot we can't see there, and then also they all turned their phones off, and it was just a really ingenious way because like this is like right before like iPhones became like the norm. So a lot of these are just like obviously like flip phones and phones like that. So they're texting like the old-fashioned way. One of the most impressive feats of the movie is so Matt Damon calls Jack Nicholson. And he's like, "Hey, like I'm gonna be late for supper. Change the plan. Something's going on." He gets off the phone, and they're all in this room watching this deal go down. So it's basically Alec Baldwin is in there, Matt Damon is in there, a bunch of other police are in there, and Matt Damon like puts his phone away, but he's got it in his pocket, so he is like just muscle memory in his pocket, sending a text message to Jack Nicholson's character that just says no phones, and so Jack Nicholson gets a message. They all turn their phones off, and Alec Baldwin's like, why are all their phones off? We can't like obviously like listen in now or get like their phone records. What the heck's going on here? And then he the deal doesn't happen or happens like in the blind spot. So he's like, who's the guy that set up the cameras? And Alec Baldwin's character just like wails on the guy, and so now there's no time to that. This happens after the scene where he's like, I need to get the information because he calls Matt Damon like when his girlfriend is moving in, and he's like, hey, like he's like if it wasn't for me, you'd be in like jail right now because like I'm the one that tipped you off about this thing. So like I need your cooperation with getting to me this information so we can find the informant. So at one point then Costigan, that is DiCaprio's character, is following Matt Damon's character, and he's got the envelope that says Citizens on it. I don't think he gets a good enough look at Matt Damon's character to know that Matt Damon is the mole on the inside. But he goes into like they go to this adult theater. Costello's in there with Matt Damon, and he gets the envelope, and Matt Damon DiCaprio tries to follow him. At one point, Sullivan, that again Matt Damon's character, knowing he's being followed, he pulls a knife out and he stabs somebody who he thinks is Costigan, but it ends up just being like an innocent bystander. So he gets away with the envelope and the information about this. Costigan is now getting a little more worried that he's like, hey, like my cover's gonna get blown here like any minute. I need to get out of this like operation. And then at one point, Sullivan has Captain or when it's revealed that Costello is an FBI informant, Costigan goes to Queenan's house. That's Martin Sheen's character, and he's like, hey, like Costello's an informant. They go inside the house. They have a conversation about it, and they're like, all right, like let's get some supper. It's like a really cool scene between the DiCaprio and Martin Sheen. But later on in the film, Sullivan assigns police to follow Captain Queenan. He's like, hey, for all we know, Queenan is the mole. Obviously, knowing that he's the mole the whole time. But he gets him followed, and I think basically he ends up essentially getting Queenan killed because I think like he's got police people following him, and then also Costello's gang is following Queenan. So Queenan and Costigan have a conversation on this rooftop. He's like, I need to get out of this like thing. He's like, cool, I'll try to get you out of this. It might not happen overnight, but I'm going to work on getting you out of this like operation. But then Costello's gang rolls up there, and Queenan is able to buy Costigan enough time to escape. But it comes at the cost of his life because they basically throw Queenan off the roof. And then a firefight ensues between the police and Costello's gang. One of the members of Costello's gang gets shot, who I think knows that DiCaprio is the mole because like as he's dying, he's like, hey, you were really quick getting there. I gave you the wrong address, but you were there. He's like, why do you think I didn't tell anybody? And then he dies. It's revealed that on the news that guy was also an informant as well, working for the police against Costello's crew. At one point now, so they basically I think like Matt Damon's character is like, hey, like I'm like not the mole, or like so he goes to the police station and he also has a affair with Matt Damon's girlfriend. There's a whole plot where Matt Damon's character apparently is impotent, and she becomes pregnant later in the movie. It's obviously Costigan's kid. Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts in this movie, so I may miss some of the stuff or get stuff a little bit like out of order. But there is another like a mob meeting. They're doing moving a bunch of drugs, and the police are tailing them. And I think at one point, he calls Matt Damon's character, this is Jack Nicholson. He's like, "Hey, like, pull that patrol back from here." So they pull a patrol back, but they bring another patrol in, and a huge firefight ensues here, which results in both French and Costello getting killed. French kind of has goes out like a trooper here, because he basically in the firefight he gets shot. He crashes his car, it goes on fire, and he's just like, screw it, and like shoots himself. So it's just like, I'm already shot, and now like I'm in this burning car. He's like, whatever. But then it ends up being that Matt Damon's character ends up killing Costello, because he's like, Costello basically says, because when Queenan died, Matt Damon's character was going through this notebook of Queenan's that mentioned that Costello was working with the FBI. So he's just like, "Hey, are you an FBI informant?" He basically, Jack Nicholson's character is like, basically like, "Yeah, like I'm an informant." And he's like, "Yeah, are you gonna give me up to the FBI? Have you already given me up to the FBI? Like, what the hell?" So Matt Damon thinks like maybe he's gonna get implicated in some stuff now if Costello is just giving people up to the FBI all the time. So they both pull guns on each other, and Matt Damon's character ends up killing Jack Nicholson's character. After Costello is out of the picture, Costigan goes to the police to kind of like, he's like, "Hey, like I'm here to get paid because I'm the undercover." So he's like, Matt Damon's character, I don't think he knows that this guy is the actual mole yet, but he runs some stuff for me. He's like, "Okay, cool, this guy's good." He's like, "Sit tight. I'm gonna go to I gotta just like run some files for you, and I'll be back in a few minutes or whatever." But so Matt Damon's character leaves the office, and DiCaprio is still in there, and he notices kind of on the desk under some stuff is a citizen's envelope that has his handwriting on it with the X on it, which he saw Matt Damon's character walking around with when he was trying to follow him earlier in the film. I don't think he knew it was Matt Damon at that point, but then he goes from there and goes to Vera Farmiga's house, and he kind of says like, "Hey, like open this envelope, and like if something ever happens to me, like open this envelope. It's got a bunch of information in it or something like that." So there's the next day, I think, or like he disappeared for I think like a couple weeks or something. I don't really know how long for, but he sends a package to Sullivan's house with all the audio recordings of him and Costello from like the movie theater, the adult theater that they ran earlier, and Vera Farmiga's character listens to it. And Matt Damon's character is like, "What's going on?" And she pulls the headphones out of the speakers, and you can definitely hear he's like, "I can explain this, I can explain that." But he gets a call from Costigan. He's like, "Hey, meet me at the same place where Captain Queenan died, and we're going to discuss this." So Matt Damon goes there. He gets held at gunpoint by Costigan. I think the guy's name is Trooper Brown. He shows up and he pulls a gun on both of them. He's like, "Hey, like I need you to like let Sullivan go." And he's like, "Hey, like trust me, you know who I am." And he gets into an elevator, and this is like was a very shocking scene when I first saw it. But at one point, Sullivan is like, "It's gonna be fun to see you explain this to a jury," and then like his mood completely changes when he realizes how screwed he is. He's like, "Just kill me, man, just kill me." And Costigan is like, "I am killing you." And then the doors open, and you hear a gunshot, and you see DiCaprio get shot, and then you see, I forget the character's name. I don't know if they ever named the character, but it's somebody that was in the police academy with Sullivan earlier in the film, and he's like, "You think you were the only one that Costello had on the inside?" And then there's a whole talk. He's like, it's just the two of us now. We need to help each other. We need to protect each other. And Matt Damon then picks a gun up off the ground and then shoots this guy, obviously, so he can like frame the guy or just tying up loose ends. Sergeant Brown also gets shot right before that. And then so Matt Damon's character is now the only one, at least the only known person that was working for Costello in the crew or in the police because he just killed the one guy that was there, and the other guy killed Brown, who could have corroborated the story. So after that, there is a police funeral for Costigan, and Matt Damon's character sees that Vera Farmiga's character is crying at the funeral, maybe not knowing that he was a patient of hers, at least temporarily. Also, she had an affair with him, so he figured there was some kind of maybe something going on. And she's walking by, and she's like, "What about the baby?" Because like she's pregnant, and it's obviously, like I said, obviously Costigan's kid probably. But she just keeps walking, and basically like now Matt Damon has nothing essentially. I mean, well, he's still got his job at the police, I guess, but he has lost his girlfriend, potential like kid, and then you see him walking into his apartment with a bag of groceries, looking like he's going to get away with it, like he's going to win essentially. He unlocks the door to his apartment. It's kind of funny because in the hallway, a lot of people like, even there's this weird scene where this dog walks up to him and the person just pulls it away. It's like even the dog is suspicious of him. But he opens the door to his apartment, and Mark Wahlberg's character is there wearing boot covers, and Matt Damon's like, all right, and then Mark Wahlberg's character just shoots him and leaves, and then there's like a rat on the ledge. I should have mentioned that at one point after Captain Queenan is killed, Alec Baldwin's character is now Mark Wahlberg's boss, and his character is like, all right, unlock the files for the undercover so we can give them to Sullivan. And Mark Wahlberg's character is just like, no, I quit, like screw this. So I don't know if those identities ever got revealed. And even at one point, Alec Baldwin was kind of going against Sullivan. He's like, I need those Sullivans, like I need those records. And Alec Baldwin's character is like, no, you want those records, but you don't need them. Like it's like, but yeah, at the end, so basically he quits the police force, and then and then still as like revenge for getting Queenan killed, revenge for probably getting Costigan killed, takes out Matt Damon's character. Mark Wahlberg's character is pretty unlikable in the movie, but it's like a weird shades of gray kind of thing, where you don't like him, but he will end up doing the right thing when he needs to. So he's got like a weird kind of like honor code for him. Like he's like definitely like aggressive toward Costigan, like in the movie, but he will always, like have Costigan's back when needed. So he gets revenge for obviously Queenan and Costigan, and then at the end of the movie, you see this rat just walk on the ledge of the apartment, and then that's where the film ends. Just an amazing film. Yeah, I know there's a lot. I probably skipped over a bunch of stuff or did stuff out of order because there is a lot going on in this film. But the basic concept of it is two people who are working for the police, both inside and outside of it, but also working for the mob. So, like, DiCaprio's character is a police officer that is infiltrating the mob. Matt Damon's character is a police officer who is working for the mob. So then it's kind of the point of it is basically discovering who the mole is in the police and discovering who the mole is in the mob. Just an amazing film. But that is going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in a week from now with a video game from 2006. Really looking forward to that. And then, of course, after that, we'll be jumping into the rest of the decade. So that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.